guys, I'm Evelyn,
And I'm Robert.
and we're talking about it.
Okay, so we're sorry we've had a little bit of a stretch between episodes.
I've been a little sick, and I'm the one that does the editing, so we do deeply apologize. We're trying to get back into the groove of things. Um, it was not the Rona.
It was not the Rona.
I am okay. Just a lot of really bad headaches that have prevented me from even looking at my phone, let alone a computer.
All right. So speaking of headaches, what were your predictions? Oh, first of I just got a wide-eyed stare from her like I completely forgot about that.
I totally forgot about predictions. Because it's been a minute.
Okay, before she gives us her predictions, the chapter we're working on for today is The Black Gate is Closed.
I mean, I think I made some pretty basic predictions for this one.
I don't remember.
I know it's been a minute. I think we're just gonna have to skip it this time. But I will say a long-standing prediction that I had for this for this book does come into play. So I will remind you all that I had said that I think the Twin Towers referred to the towers of Isengard and a tower in Mordor. And this chapter, we will find out if I'm right or wrong.
Correct. Now you notice that's the one she remembers, not all the ones that she absolutely got horribly wrong.
Well, I got this one wrong too, kind of.
I know, but I mean horribly wrong. Okay.
That's true.
All right. So the black gate is closed.
Yeah.
Put the candle back.
If anyone actually gets that reference, I will send you a cookie.
A cookie.
A cookie.
Okay.
That's all I can offer.
So before we get started, so Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's son, states that there's really nothing in any of the drafts of the manuscript to show that there were a lot of changes from the first time he put these words down or the thoughts down anyway about how this chapter was going to run.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's so opposite of so much other parts of the book.
So, like, this one, he was like, I know exactly how this is going to play out.
Yeah, he, as far as the scheme, he didn't change much of it. So Christopher Tolkien states that there was nothing in the draft of the manuscript that shows there was a lot of changes to the scheme of this chapter. Even a lot of his original language he wrote survived in getting into the book, which was unusual for a lot of other chapters.
So he really had like a plan for this chapter, it seems.
Yes, it did. I mean, but if you think about it, I mean, this chapter is tying so many strings together.
It is.
It's creating new strings too, but it's tied a whole bunch of them together.
It has, yeah. So I guess we can dive right into it then and analyze it. Though this might be a shorter episode because it was a very straightforward chapter, I think.
Right. And yes, in the middle of it, there's a lot of I don't want to say information dump, but there's a lot of history that we're reminded of.
Yeah.
Getting us back in the mindset of what's going on here. Now, as far as Evelyn's prediction goes, what was the prediction?
About the towers, that the two towers that are mentioned in the books are the tower in Isengard, and then there would be another tower in Mordor. But once we get to the Black Gates, we find out there's actually two towers there.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about humans that built these two towers in Mordor to keep watch for Sauron's return, and then years go by and they forget, and these towers have fallen into disrepair and they've been abandoned and everything.
And so the enemy was able to retake them.
Right, so Sauron returns, repairs the towers, and use them for exactly the opposite purpose for which they were built.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I think that says a lot about humans because we are short-lived
Yeah.
compared
To the other races.
To the other races.
We have short memories. Because that's something that we find in history itself where a lot of oral traditions have been lost, especially with native peoples, because there's no one to remember, but that gets into a whole pie we don't want to open up.
Right. And the other thing is, like you said about elves and dwarves,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Elrond was there at the original battle when his finger was chopped off.
Right.
So compare that to hundreds of generations of humans.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, this would be like us trying to remember exactly what happened in day to day life during the Dark Ages.
Yeah. Or even further
Or
back.
even further back. Well, yeah, because if we're talking about 3,500 years, we're talking about.
We're talking about like hunter gatherers.
Yeah, we're talking
We're
about.
talking like Babylon.
Yeah, we're talking about the beginning of civilization.
Yeah, and trying to remember like what that was like, because we have some stories that have survived, but most of it has not.
Right. I mean, and while we're talking about this, a good example of that of something that was built way back when
Mm-hmm.
were the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Right.
That they were one of the ancient wonders of the world.
Yeah, but no one remembers what they look like.
Nobody knows what they look like. Nobody knew exactly where they were at.
No one even knows what was planted there.
And it may have just been a myth.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole time.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's pull ourselves out of that rabbit hole. And speaking of rabbit hole, I find it interesting that Sam is putting himself down a lot
here. He is. Poor Sam.
He's gotten to the negatives.
He's really gotten negative. He keeps talking about how, the gaffer would tell me that I told you so, and the gaffer would have my head over this, or the gaffer would tell me off for that. Like, he's really putting himself down a lot by not only what he thinks of himself, but what he thinks others would think of him in this situation.
Right. And I'm going to paraphrase a quote out of the book. After all, he never had any real hope in the affair from the beginning. But being a cheerful hobbit, he didn't need hope as long as despair could be postponed.
I like that.
Sounds very British to me.
It does. It really does.
Right.
Despair can be postponed. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah, because it made me think of the bombing of London during World War II.
Okay.
The Germans thought this was going to dishearten them.
Mm-hmm.
No, sirens go off. They go in the basement. Sirens go off. They come back up, start cleaning up, living day by day again.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of like Sam. It's like, well, we just get through one more day. We'll just get through one more day.
Mm-hmm.
Push it away. Push it away.
Yeah.
As far as the despair goes. And so we get to see a little bit of the other side of Sam on that one.
Yeah.
But it also plays into the idea that I continue to keep bringing up, the army officer / personal sergeant.
Yeah.
Attaché.
Because that was something that, since you're bringing it up, I'll mention it now. That was something that I really noticed in the chapter was the way that Sam would refer to Frodo as master and the way that Gollum referred to him as master were two very, very different things. Even though the same word is used, what it means is dramatically different, and you can tell that in the writing.
So this is also where they get upset about, there's the Black Gate. I guess I got to go march through it now.
Mm-hmm.
And Gollum's like, whoa, 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 whoa. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, know,
Yeah, Gollum's like,
it's,
what do
it's
you
like,
mean?
oh, I mean, if you would have told me if you would have clued me in on the goals of this trip,
Mm-hmm.
I could have showed you a different way, and we wouldn't have had a trek all the way here.
Yeah.
Basically,
Because he gives, like, two other options about, like, how to go about completing the goals that they're now cluing him in on. And I love how, like, the first option is, like, more, like, just leagues and leagues more of walking. And just
that's like
Frodo and Sam are like, is there a
a
third
third one.
option?
It's like that second option is like, gotta hike all the way to the end of the continent, go around the river, come back. I mean, that's not exactly what it is,
But
but
it's
about
about
right.
what it is. It would be, I need to get from New York to Pennsylvania. So I'm going to walk all the way to California, around to Florida, and then back up to Pennsylvania. Is kind of the way that I would equate it.
Right. It's like, or I need to get from Virginia Beach to Nashville, Tennessee, but I don't want to go over the mountains, so I'm going to go all the way down to Georgia first.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Georgia and then take the long way around the mountains. For our non-American listeners, Dad, remind me to post a map of what we're talking about. Because we do have a lot of non-American listeners. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Oh, so to equate it to Europe would be going around would be if you're trying to get from like France to Belgium, but you decide that you want to go all the way to around Poland to get to Belgium from the other direction.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that would be a European equation, I think.
And then also at this point, back to the podcast. So Sam also starts remembering the conversation Gollum and Schmeagol were having with each other.
And this is where we finally get that reference that you mentioned last time about like Slinker and Stinker.
Yeah.
Where I think that's fun. I think it's kind of fun that Sam has that like in his mind. Where he's just like, I don't like either of them. Neither of them are good.
But, so he's not exactly sure which one won that argument.
Mm-hmm. And I'm still not entirely sure which one's which, to be honest.
So we get another glimpse at how this lay of the land is so opposite of the Shire.
Yeah.
I mean, sharp, pointy peaks compared to low, rolling hills.
Yeah, and dark, unforgiving terrain and desert and just like you said, spikes and everything versus like nice rolling hills of grass.
Right.
And fertile farmland.
Right, fertile farmland, mowed lawns.
Yeah, where nothing here grows.
Yeah. And then at this point, Frodo witnessed these troops just marching in.
Yes.
Coming into Mordor. And it's not an attack going out the gates he originally thought.
Yes.
And it's just barely mentioned, so you might have not caught it.
Okay.
He hides under his cloak.
I did not notice that. Okay.
Yeah. It just quickly says he flips the hood up to his cloak and remains very still.
Oh, I did notice that. I just it passed it. Mm-hmm. It passed by me.
Right. I think that's kind of neat the way he wrote that in. Whether or not he wrote that on purpose or just because he was in that mindset it was written that way. Yeah, so right, it almost passed by us
as well as the reader.
Right, as the reader.
Yeah.
Then also we get this old saying coming out of the Middle Ages. Third time proves the best.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is the earliest written form of that is from a manuscript called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight from 1680.
Oh, I didn't realize that's where it was from.
And
Okay.
so naturally, Gandalf would know about it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's probably why he had it in his mind when he wrote it down.
Gandalf had it in his mind?
Yeah, Gandalf. Don't you know Gandalf? Don't you know who Gandalf is?
Apparently you don't.
Oh,
So,
in Christ.
you're going to make this so hard at it.
I know, I'm sorry. So this is when we come up to a phrase which Frodo uses a couple of times here. Third time proves best.
Yeah.
Now this is actually comes from a Middle Ages saying, proverb.
Mm-hmm.
And the oldest known written form of this is from the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Oh, I didn't realize that's where it was from. Okay.
From 1680.
Yeah, that's one of the Arthurian legends.
Right, and so he would know that.
Yeah, Tolkien definitely would have.
Because that's what he studies and teaches.
Yeah, he for sure would know that. I'm guessing that's where, like, third time's the charm comes from?
Right, yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Good thing comes in threes, bad thing comes in threes. Depending on which grandmother you listen to.
That's true.
And I really like the fact that Frodo kinds of gives Gollum, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's like a mother to a child. It's not even a master to a servant. It's like a mother to a child.
Yeah, it is.
Don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So where are you at right now with that? What are you thinking about now?
Just, I'm trying to figure out, like, who these people are coming in. Obviously, Sauron is, like, collecting his forces. And it seems like he's collecting them all. That way he can send them out in one big force, is the way that I'm kind of reading it. I know we bring up the Oliphants, which is different than elephants, but I'm assuming they're similar.
Well, if you read the poem,
well, yeah, they're
very similar.
Yeah, yeah. Which, oh my god, which I audibly laughed at the line where Gollum was like, "Oh no, I don't know Oliphants. What's an Oliphant?" Like, I audibly laughed when I read that. That to me was like, that's something I would say. Where it's like, have you seen this? No, I haven't seen it. What is that?
But it's interesting, before we get to that part, because I have a couple things I want to share with that.
Okay.
Smeagol heard about this old fortress, this old way, from when he was young.
Oh, so this is real.
Yeah, so he was depending on word of mouth from when he was young to know about this.
Okay.
And then these tales of the South that we get here is that history dump, as I was mentioning earlier.
Yeah. Which, again, instead of like the history dumps that we've gotten before, this one was a little bit better written, I think.
Well, and it's short and concise.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. So I was into it. I was really into it.
Right, and I like there's that exchange between Frodo and Gollum, where Frodo says, "Well, they cut off the finger," and then it says Sauron only has 4 fingers on his black hand, but that's enough.
Yeah,
I mean Gollum's the realist here right now.
Yeah, he is for sure.
And he's kind of schooling them about the other way, and that he's already done his recon.
Mm-hmm.
From when he went there the first time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Gollum and Sam get into it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gollum and Sam are going at it again. Gollum is like, "There's no sense to try to get into Mordor at all."
Yeah.
So I didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah.
You said, "Bring me to the gate." I brought you to the gate. If I'd known you wanted to go in there,
I would have totally brought you a different way. which is what we mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I love the little argument that Gollum is like, guys,
He
like,
is a literalist.
right.
He does not, he cannot extrapolate data.
Right.
He's very one track minded. He really only knows what he knows, and he doesn't think about the further aspect. Because again, like we mentioned in previous episodes, where he has no idea that Frodo would even consider destroying the ring. Like the thought of destroying the ring, like he has never entered his mind,
right.
because in his mind, everyone wants the ring. Like no one wants to destroy the ring. Everyone wants the ring. So the ring will be mine, and I will be the Lord of the Ring, and I will be Lord of all. I will be Lord Gollum. And so he, like, when he's just like, okay, we'll go to the Black Gates. I don't know what you plan on doing, but sure, why not?
Right. And that's the other thing. It never crosses Gollum's mind about why he wants to get to
Yeah.
I mean, other than if you keep doing that, it's going to be taken away from you.
Right, exactly. He's like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
He has no concept of why they might be wanting to go that way.
Right.
Other than some crazy thing about giving Sauron the ring back.
Yeah.
And then,
which he thinks that they'll, like, try to get for power or something.
Right. And then something I noticed this time reading, I don't think I ever noticed it before. When Gollum is using the personal pronoun I,
mm-hmm.
he tends to be telling more truth.
Okay.
So, he's talking about his experiences.
Not just...
his thoughts.
Yeah.
Not just...
we and us.
Because we also get the other end of that, because, oh yeah, if we go that way, we walk by the sea and it has a lot of tasty fish in it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about going off down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And we also get reminded that Frodo and Samwise, at this point, still thinks Gandalf's dead.
Oh, that's true. They don't know he's still alive.
That's right, because they ran off before he appeared again.
Yeah, that's true.
So then we get
the Nazguls.
Yeah, we get the winged creatures flying overhead again.
And so at this point, Frodo's pretty much like, oh, Sauron's observing us. Which I had questions on. Is Sauron actually observing them or not? First of all. Like,
I think if Sauron knew where they were, they would have been captured already.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was at. Because, like, that's where I was thinking. Because I'm just like, if Sauron knew where they were, he would be after them, like, nonstop, like, no holds bar.
But the other thing is, I don't understand that thinking coming from him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they hear this army coming, and they thought it was Gondor.
Yeah.
But so
and then
why
they
would
see different men.
Right, but so why would you think the Nazgûl up there flying around trying to find me when you think there's thousands of men coming to attack?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's how paranoid he is.
True, but I mean, it's warranted where they are. I think in this case, or at this point, like a little bit of paranoia is a little healthy.
Maybe. And they hear singing from the troops coming to the gates. And it's men. It's men who have a lot of things painted red.
Yeah.
And it calls them yellow men.
Yeah.
So I wonder, and I can't help but wonder if that's an Asian reference.
Yeah, if that's a not so great
it's a
reference.
It's a non-PC reference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something we definitely talk about in our diversity bonus episode, where it's not exactly the best descriptor, and it really does come off as not great.
Right. And
Yeah.
just talking about this right now, oh, Bruce Springsteen uses the term yellow man when he's talking about why why we went to Vietnam was to kill the yellow man.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Right, I know. He's using it to say, here we go down a rabbit hole on Bruce Springsteen. You ready, guys? This is this is where he's saying that to help convey to us how racist that sounded.
Okay.
I don't think he says it in a racist way. I think he's telling us this was wrong thinking.
It's just like, you're racist for thinking it.
Correct.
From what I said. Okay.
Yeah.
That's problematic in of itself, but okay.
Yep. All right. We continue with our podcast. But they hear singing.
Yeah.
And I gotta giggle because Frodo becomes afraid because he hears humans singing.
Okay.
Do they sing like you and me? Is it that scary when they sing?
Okay, now I see where you're going with it. Yes, we are not the best singer.
But Sam has now completely forgot everything else.
Yeah.
He's like, were there offalants?
Yes, he's very excited about the prospect of seeing some.
Right, and because it's...
Which I think goes with the Asian reference a little bit more as well, because if you think about England colonialism in India, ooh, this is just getting more yikes and yikes.
Yikes and yikes.
Just all the yikes.
But here we get an idea of how much more an offalent is than an elephant.
Yes.
I mean, they build houses and towers on the back of these things.
Yeah.
And in the movie, we get to see that realized.
I think I've seen like gifs of it.
Yeah.
Or like a clip of it.
Yeah.
I think there's a clip. Okay. Not a clip. I have been told by someone else that there is a clip of Legolas snowboarding off of an elephant tusk.
Yeah.
And so I am very excited to see this because I have no memory of this, but I have like an image in my head. I'm very curious how the image in my head translates to the screen.
So, spoiler alert. So, in the film, Legolas goes up there and takes care of everybody on the Offalumps. I keep saying it. Oliphant. I know. I'm thinking
Winnie the Pooh.
I'm thinking Winnie the Pooh. That's why the Oliphants kills everybody up there, and even manages to kill the elephant. But he snowboards off the tusk before the elephant falls, and Gimli turns to him and goes, "It still only counts as one." So,
okay.
Spoiler alert, end it. You may return to your regularly casted Rocan.
Just stop. We're just okay. We're losing our minds here.
Right. But then Sam, this is where we get the poem.
Yes.
Describing
what they are. And they're huge. Is what I'm getting.
And what's really great here is Frodo actually has a laugh.
Yeah, that's really
he's actually, maybe he's not completely under the influence of the ring.
Right.
He's able to get a giggle out of Sam's excitement about seeing these creatures.
Yeah. And I think that's nice for Sam too, where it's like, even in these dire situations, like the thought of seeing these creatures and the thought of adventure and the thought of seeing things he's only heard about is only continued.
Now, is there anything else that we forgot that you want to cover?
No, I think we covered covered everything that we wanted to talk, or that I wanted to talk about on this chapter.
Okay.
It was a pretty straightforward chapter.
Yep. And the next chapter is of herbs and stewed rabbits.
Okay.
So.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction here.
Ooh, they're going to cook some rabbits?
No.
Speaking of rabbit holes.
I'm gonna say that this is another chapter where the potato line could potentially come in, but I'm gonna say it's not. I'm gonna say everyone's gonna think that this is where it's like the potato thing comes in, but I'm still gonna say it's not in the book. I'm still gonna say it's not actually in the book. I'm still gonna say it's a movie thing.
Okay.
Okay. Number 2. I think they're gonna be very surprised to find any wildlife that they can actually eat. I'm gonna say that they're gonna be pleasantly surprised with the fact that they can find something more than just the lembas bread.
Okay.
That they can actually eat that's not tainted. And then third prediction. Gollum's gonna get a tasty fish.
Gollum's gonna get a tasty fish. Okay.
Or at least lament over a tasty fish.
What's new?
Okay, so he'll get one.
And since you said limbus, reminded me when I was doing some reading last week, I came across Tolkien's history, brief history of limbus bread.
Of course he has that.
Well, and that it's not necessary, the magic comes from the strain of wheat that they use.
Okay.
The strain of wheat was given them by the elders, or one of the elders.
Okay.
And that's why, it does what it does. Why it gives you energy and why it makes you feel full and da-da-da.
Okay.
Because it's coming from, I don't want to say enchanted, but I can't think of a better word. Coming from enchanted.
Ancient.
Ancient wheat.
Some ancient wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was actually given to them, as a gift by one of the elders / maybe a god type thing.
Okay.
So.
All right. That was actually kind of interesting. All right. Anything else? Actually, yes. We have another bonus episode that we need to do, but we don't know what to do. We want y'all's input. We want to see what you guys might be interested in us doing a bonus episode for. Because we'll have a bonus episode coming out within the next couple months or so. We'll have another one coming out. And we want your input. We want to know what you guys want us to cover.
I have an idea. Let's listen to you try to pronounce all those words.
That would actually be hilarious and annoying at the same time for everyone. Just give me a list of words and see how I try to pronounce them.
That's right.
Because English is my second language and I don't have a first.
Right. Your first is sarcasm. Well, I've been Robert.
And I've been Evelyn.
And you've been listening to Talking About It.